Welcome to Virtualize Everything. Tonight's video presentation is going to be about doing something fun, something that always had a large amount of search terms applied to it when I was a kid. We're going to learn about how to use Proxmox's web interface to set up a cluster. We can cluster servers together in Proxmox to make a more usable server for applications like high availability. Now, this might not be as exciting as what we all dreamed about as kids, with actually linking multiple computers together to share processing power and even get higher FPS. But in reality, that rarely happens with any cluster. There are certain applications that allow you to break up workloads and divide them out across a network so that the application receives better performance. But as we dreamed about it with games and other things, that rarely happens. I cannot think of a scenario where I've had it happen. But still, nonetheless, we search terms like Beowulf clusters and later Kubernetes and Docker swarms. Just learning about everything, dreaming about the moment that we could cluster a bunch of servers together and do something impressive. Well, at least I did. Probably why I'm such a geek today. But off to another topic and back onto Proxmox. So, in order to achieve high availability, we need multiple servers. Now, this can be done with 2 servers, but it is always suggested to have an odd number of servers. Some people use Raspberry Pis to create the third vote. But high availability works off of a system of votes. I don't quite understand the process, and as I figure out more and learn more by using this cluster, you'll see that I'll create more videos for you to learn about this with me. So today's video is simply going to be about just how to create the cluster itself and get them all working together on one web interface. So here you can see that we have 3 separate servers all running Proxmox that I have created. Now for server 1, let's head over and we're going to go to Data Center and then Cluster. Now we're going to create a cluster here, and I'm simply going to call it VE, and now we're going to hit Create. There we go. Now the cluster is created. Now it's going to be time to add our 2 other servers to this cluster. So we need to get the join info, click Copy Information, and head over to our next server. At Data Center, then we can click Cluster. This time, though, we're going to click Join Cluster, and we're going to paste this information here. Now, as you can see here, our peer's address appears, as well as a couple other boxes. Here we need to enter our root password. This is the password we set up during the installation process. And now we can click Join VE. The same steps need to be taken on our 3rd server right here. And again, we enter the password that was set up during the installation process. Now, we can come back, refresh the page, and we see our 2nd server has come online. Now, for some reason, in my experience, this window never changes. But, as we could see from this screen, our 2 other servers are now connected. So we can go ahead and just exit the window, press refresh, and it's going to reload our terminal window. And again, we can log in. And we'll see the same thing as we do for server 1. And we could take the same steps here, but for the sake of time, we know that it's going to be the same. So now, from any one server's IP address, if I go ahead and I enter the IP address of, say, the third server, and log in, again, it's all the same. So from the address of any one of the three servers or any of the servers on the cluster, you can manage the cluster. Now there are some more tools available to you like Ceph, and again, we'll cover that in a later video. But for today's video, that is all that's required to cluster your Proxmox servers together. And they don't even have to be running simultaneously all the time. If you have shared memory, you can even access different VMs and different containers from servers, starting and stopping them on different servers depending on what is running and what isn't running. I can see some different useful occasions for this later on, but high availability is one of the biggest attractions for me, as maintaining servers with my house's functions running on them can sometimes be tedious when my wife is trying to work from home or watch TV, and often can lead to me doing maintenance at times like midnight just so that I can get around her activities, because none of us like to have our activities disrupted. Anyways, there's tonight's video presentation about clustering Proxmox servers. If you liked tonight's video, please consider sharing, and subscribing to Virtualize Everything, and clicking the notification icon. This will help VE continue on its journey towards informing and educating everyone that we can about virtualization technology. As always, have a good night.